If there's one politician in Kenya that I once had a crush on before I found out he was married and I stayed clear, it's Ndindi Nyoro. I like me an arrogant man. I don't like a man that, can be slapped by another man and is just quiet in the corner crying. Anyway, that's story for another day. I have just seen the kind of work he has done for his constituency, and I see now why my crush was worth it. What do you mean, you guys, these politicians, these MPs, they get the same amount of CDF as him? Have you seen what he has done for his constituency? Maybe it's publicity, maybe not. If you know you are from Kiharu constituency, please comment down below, because the kind of work he has done, these are the leaders we need. I said what I said. Goodbye.
I'd like to weigh in on matters of policy and governance here in Kenya. Safaricom is being sold to Vodacom. 15% of the government. Currently, the Kenyan government holds 35% of the entire shareholding of Safaricom, with Vodacom holding around 40%. And this is now designed to give monopoly to a foreign Vodacom from South Africa to lead Safaricom, definitely at 55% shares. You've also had the justification being given by the Ministry of Finance. John Mbadi says that the reason why we're selling Safaricom is that this is a mature asset that should enable us go and make an investment in an infrastructure or something like that. And that is totally fine. The Minister of Finance on NTV this morning also adds and says that Kenyans don't understand the importance of this sale, and that they've sold at a discount because they wouldn't have gotten it at any better price. Now, I wanted to just sit back for a minute and think about it, that if our government's priority in generating resources for the state is selling the institutions and privatizing its institutions, is that not a show of its utter incompetence? If you look at the greatest countries in the world, the greatest assets of the states are nationalized. When you go to Saudi Arabia, oil is nationalized. When you go to Russia, oil is nationalized. When you go to China, the greatest industries are nationalized because it is in the best interest that these industries should run. Therefore, it should be in the best interest of the government to have competent people, to have people who have design and who are problem solvers. Because we don't want people who don't understand the problem we are going through being the people responsible for solving our problems. I wanted to understand this moving forward before I say what I'm going to say next, is that our leaders and our elders are dependent on their experience to govern. They use what they think has worked before and what is familiar to them, because that is what is comfortable to attend to. And that has been to running deals. William has been in the United States, and there is a 244, there's a health deal that the US has given to Kenya. I want you to understand that aid is the greatest catastrophe of dependency on the continent of Africa. Our dependency on foreign aid is the number one thing that as a continent is keeping us poor. Building sustainable systems that ensure we have food sovereignty to feed our people. We have energy sovereignty to feed the industries and to drive industrialization. And 3 is that we have technological sovereignty to ensure we have capacity to produce the machines responsible for the production. Only then can we head into the direction of first world nation. It's not through privatization. Privatization will not take us to the first world. Depending on foreign aid will not take Kenya to the first world. Neither will it take any African country. The handouts that are being given, let me just give you another context. About a month or so ago, there was a fund called Nyoro Fund that was disbursed to young persons in the rural areas, majorly those who are transitioning from high school into campus life. And I have engaged with several persons who received this amount of money. I can confirm that the young people have utilized that money to enjoy themselves, not investing in an asset that can give them money. Why is that the case? We have not built sustainability through enhancing the skill development of these young people. So even if you're investing in infrastructure, that is not the number one strategy to get Kenya to first world state. Like, we cannot discuss about building a sustainable economy and employment for everyone unless we are discussing about how we are industrializing. And how we are industrializing, the question is, how sustainable is the innovation we are bringing? What is the skill level of the people we are bringing in? It is not news that comrades and learning institutions are simply driving learners to have papers, to value results, but not to develop a skill. They are overfed with theory and not practical aspects that is going to push them forward. And then they say, and a narrative has been sold that put 1,000 shillings or money in a Bible or in a book and an African will not find it. That was an identity that was planted in us that must be rooted out. While we have observed in the past 1 week a fiasco in terms of how violent our elections are, is that this is a testament of what these people are preparing us for. Yet again, I think and I feel that in 2027 we should not have an election. We should have a referendum. We should ask ourselves whether the script that we are using is even working, because it's not. And who is the author of that script? Because our politicians are simply actors of that script. They follow scripts that are written by somebody else. This is the real problem we must be able to embrace and look at. Foreigners are within our country and are controlling everything as it is. The University of Nairobi is being controlled by a man who is exploiting minerals in Kenya's reservancies and conservancies. These green United Nations and NGOs are the greatest threat to the sovereignty of the people of Kenya. This is the real thing we must be able to evaluate. We cannot depend on foreign aid again. Our education system is not doing right. If we are not fixing that, there's nowhere we are going. That is what we must fix. That is where we must start. A future of a country is dependent on the understanding of its people. A failed education system, people with no skills, developing leaders who have no skills, wanting easy, quick, get-rich schemes. They run the state and the country from a level of dealership, not from a point of service. We have a duty. Kenyans, Africans. The time for us to awaken has come. Let us not go with that script again. Democracy is a wrong script. Let us reevaluate democracy as a script of governance. If money is what determines who becomes a leader, then that script is wrong. Thank you.
Now that we are selling stakes, and I want to tell you for sure, Safaricom PLC, the government is now selling 15%. You can be sure before elections, they will have sold the other stake, some of it. And I cannot actually tell you, some of it they will actually sell to NSSF. Because you don't need to have been inside government for you to learn how the government is thinking. The government is lazy to grow the economy. Because when you grow the economy, it is when you get revenues to support the growth of infrastructure. And since there is no growth in the economy, so we are now looking for shortcuts. And I can tell you for sure, this is just the beginning. They'll divest even from the other stake, because no one wants to bother Hakuna mtu anataka kuchoka kufikiria akifanya maamuzi. Unaona Safaricom iko pesa uza. You now hear about selling a stake in KCB where the government has around 19%. Very soon you'll also hear the same in the energy sector. And that's not even the problem. The problem is that we are selling these assets for a song. And I want to repeat because I am finishing. There is no way the government can purport to sell Safaricom at a valuation of less than 2.5 trillion. There is no way, other than if there is self-interest or incompetence on the side of government. And I have enumerated again, the best way was for the government, first of all, to foster divestiture within Safaricom, create 3 entities, value them separately, and then sell them separately if you have to sell.
Nankulia moto, nankulia moto, nankulia moto, hey, nankulia moto. Nanonisha meno, mgeuka unanumia meno, kwani una maneno, unajona namba za ngeno. Mina mamchoro, za kupata do na zokshko boho na ushko boho. Adogo pingo ringo, neda noma niko on.